Hello, and welcome to our World Chart Wednesday series. My name is Vito. I'm an instructor at Technical Associates, and today we're going to be discussing one of the other interesting cases in the World Chart. It's under the gear section, and we're going to be discussing hunting tooth or tooth repeat problems. What causes a hunting tooth problem? Well, a hunting tooth problem occurs when there are faults on both the pinion and gear, and can be introduced either through the manufacturing or assembly process. May even occur when the gearbox may be mishandled during transportation, or may even occur through the operation. If some large impactive event occurs, which causes damage to two teeth in mesh at that time. The hunting tooth frequency is then the frequency at which those same two teeth come back in mesh after multiple revolutions of both the pinion and the gear. In some severe cases, the gears can emit a rumbling or growling sound because of this hunting tooth problem. Well, how do we calculate this hunting tooth or tooth repeat frequency? Well, if you look in the wall chart, you'll see that we've included the formula for calculating hunting tooth frequency. And hunting tooth frequency is given by the product of the gear mesh frequency and the gear assembly phase factor, which is the N sub A, and that's divided by the product of the number of teeth of the gear and number of teeth of the pinion. Now, where does the hunting tooth problem show up in the spectrum? Well, if we look at the typical spectrum there for a hunting tooth problem, you'll see that hunting tooth frequency, firstly, is subsynchronous to both the running speed of the gear and the running speed of the pinion. Usually shows up with a pretty sizable amplitude, and in some cases you might see one or two harmonics of the hunting tooth frequency. What is characteristic of this problem is the side banding that shows up around the running speeds of the gear and the pinion, and also side bands around gear mesh frequency and harmonics of the gear mesh frequency. The magnitude of the side bands is usually proportional to the severity of the problem. In order to be able to see the hunting tooth frequency and specifically the side bands, it's important that the spectrum has good enough resolution, and depending on what the maximum frequency setting is for the spectrum, you may require 32 or 6400 lines of resolution to be able to separate those little peaks in the spectrum very clearly. Now, let's look at an example, and we're going to use the one here in the wall chart. We have a 6-tooth pinion that's running at 1000 RPM, meshing with a 7-tooth gear that's running at 857 RPM. Now, if we take the gear tooth counts and factor out the lowest prime factors, 6 has prime factors of 2 and 3, and 7 has prime factor of 1. You see that none of those factors there are common, so the N sub A value in this case works out to be 1. If we take these numbers here and calculate hunting tooth frequency, gear mesh frequency, if we use the pinion, works out to be 6,000 CPM. If you multiply the 6 teeth by the 1,000 RPM, That gives you 6,000 CPM. The product of the number of teeth is 42, and if you divide 42 into 6,000, that gives you a hunting tooth frequency of 143 CPM. What does that actually physically mean? Well, it means that with that particular gear combination, if you have a hunting tooth problem, that hunting tooth problem or that hunting tooth frequency shows up every 7 rotations or 7 revolutions of the pinion and 6 revolutions of the gear. And that is what the hunting tooth frequency is. Well, I hope this video has been beneficial and useful in explaining what this unique case is for hunting tooth problem. If you need any additional information, if you need help, if you want to discuss any other cases here in the wall chart, give us a call at 704-333-9011 or leave us a message on our website and we'll get back to you and be happy to discuss any of these cases. Thanks for watching.